All right. Hello, beautiful people from the internet. It is Connie over here. Today I am back at it again with a new night smoke sesh. Today is now our short turn, so we have more nighttime than daytime maybe? I don't know. But nighttime and night videos and night smoke sessions always prompt me to think deeply about a topic and then share it with the internet, which is something that I absolutely love doing. I think it's very interesting to see all of the different opinions that people have on different topics that I bring on the channel, you know, related or not to cigarettes. So today I'm going to be talking about something maybe a little bit more personal, and I'm going to be smoking a cigarillo. I also have my bottle of water, so feel free to bring your beverages, your sodas, your teas maybe to be a little bit healthier. I'm gonna light this up and shall we start talking about some things? All right, so the topic of today, I don't even know like how I thought about this or why I thought this was a good idea, but I guess that today I want to talk a little bit about why I feel like a little bit of an alien, a lost little alien in a planet which it probably doesn't belong to, or at least it doesn't feel like it belongs. I don't know, I felt like a bit of an alien ever since I was a little child, ever since I remember to have a conscious? English is not my first language, so I'm really trying out here, but there's some words that I still don't know, you know? Ever since I could think about things, I always thought, you know, maybe I'm not exactly the same way as other kids. I thought of myself as not superior nor inferior, just some things about the way that I thought about things seemed different to other kids, and that has, you know, developed as I have developed as well, and I am now able to put some things into words. So I have my journal here, special guest for today, where I wrote some things so that I wouldn't forget what I wanted to say, you know. But it's all going to be about the topic of feeling a little bit like an alien, not in a bad way, but in a way where, you know, you kind of feel separated. So there's a couple things about me that I have realized a lot of other people have as well, which makes me feel very comforted. Of course, I'm not, you know, a unique human being in the sense that I have these characteristics that no one else has. Like, that would be just naive and stupid, honestly, to think, you know. We are just so many people that a lot of us will have a lot of similar qualities and characteristics to us, you know. But the first thing that I remember always struggling with ever since I was a kid, and that I know a lot of people also relate to, was the fact that ever since or every time I tried a new hobby or to get a new skill, I would reach a point where, you know, when you are on the first learning curve and the first time you are doing something, like there's a very harsh learning curve that you have to go through for a period of time in order to start being easier for you to learn said thing that you want to learn. So ever since I can think of myself trying to learn something new, I always had this thing in my head of, I tried it for the first time. I couldn't do it perfectly, of course. I couldn't even do it nice. I didn't learn how to do this thing. For example, the most recent example I have is crochet. On the day that I decided I wanted to learn crochet, I bought my supplies, of course, as I do with all my hobbies. I get the supplies, at least the basics. I took to the internet and I was like, how to crochet, you know? And you need to learn some patterns in order to be able to do it, and it's quite difficult. It has a kind of science to it, which I didn't know it had. And I remember I got so frustrated with it because I was not able to do it at the first time. I thought I was going to be able to make a sweater on my first crochet project, you know. And when I realized I couldn't even do the stitches, I got infuriated with myself, or at myself. I cried, which is something that maybe it's a little bit stupid or silly to admit on the internet, you know, but I get so frustrated when I don't get things perfectly on the first try, which now I know a lot of people can relate. But when I was a kid, of course kids don't talk about these things, you know. I a lot of times got frustrated with myself. For example, I did tennis for a while, and of course I wasn't good when I started, and I used to get really frustrated with myself. I would get home and just think, wow, I really suck at this. I will never be good. I don't want to do it again. And I asked my parents to quit a lot of times. They didn't let me for some years, which I think was very good to build my what is the word, like perseverança. I will translate it in English then, don't worry. Ever since I was a kid, I remember having this pattern of if I don't get things perfect on the first try, then I rather not do them at all. I don't want to do it. Please get away from me, I rather not. I cannot, I'm working on it, but I have a difficulty with dealing with the fact that I'm not, I guess, perfect at everything all the time, which is to be expected from a human being, I guess that another thing that I've always felt that kind of set me apart from at least the people that were around me that were very good at expressing the things that they were feeling was that every time I would get overwhelmed, which would happen a lot, and it still does, I don't really know why. I feel like I get really overwhelmed with simple things, but every time I got overwhelmed, like this sense of just disturbance inside of my head, almost as if a million voices are trying to speak one after the other and one above the other, I would get extremely overwhelmed, and if someone tried to talk to me or like touch me to try and comfort me, give me a hug or something, I would just be like, please get away from me, because I feel like I'm exploding inside of my head. And when I was a kid, I could never explain these things. Of course, because I didn't have the vocabulary, I didn't have the emotion intelligence to understand what was going on. So I was just very I felt like constantly a little bomb just waiting to explode, because if something triggered me, I guess, a sound or a sensation, I would just get filled with this angst inside of me, inside of my little body, I guess. And if someone tried to calm me down, I would just feel worse, and I would need to be left alone in order to not feel this anymore. But this is something that I only realized actually very recently, when I was trying to explain to my boyfriend one day when I was overwhelmed with something, please do not try to comfort me or try to talk to me right now, I just need to be alone or else I'm gonna start lashing out, Of course I don't want to do it, but I realized that that's something that I've done and I've felt for so many years. I've just never been able to put it into words, I guess this always serves as me listing all of the things that I want to work on and am working on, actively, in order for maybe a year, 2 years, or 10 years from now, I can look back on this and be like, so silly, now this is fixed, or this is a little bit better at least, So I guess that's why I'm doing this. Maybe it's not going on the internet, I don't know, but I like talking to myself, so maybe that's just the case for this one. But if you're watching this on the internet, hello, I hope you can relate somehow, and I'm not alone and not an alien, Something else that I've always felt and still deal with pretty strongly is that when I do things, I have a very specific method in which I will do them. So a simple action, for example, today I had to go to an appointment. I had an x-ray done for my teeth because I need to extract one of my wisdom teeth, whatever. I have a very specific method as how the day is going to plan out in order for everything to go perfectly. So my appointment was at 7 p.m. So from 3 p.m. on, I was getting off my chair, I was editing or whatever, was getting off my chair to put my favorite shoes next to my bag just so I didn't forget to use my comfortable shoes. I was taking everything out of my bag and putting everything back in 10 times to see if I had everything that I needed. Everything was kind of lined up next to each other so I wouldn't forget anything. And if, as I am getting up to do all of these things, if someone asks me something oh, can you do this for me? I'm like, no, I need to do this right now or else everything is gonna go wrong, And I felt this for a long time as well. Ever since I was a kid, the way I stored things in my desk had to be very specific, otherwise I felt like everything was a mess. Even if the way that I arranged things was looked at as a mess from the outside, for me it was everything was in its space. And if it was taken out of there, or if someone took something and put it in another place and I didn't know where it was, I would freak out. And I guess that freak out or lash out are words that I'm going to use a lot because unfortunately that's something that I do a lot, which is obviously not good. Working on it, as I said, but I'm still a 22-year-old girl. So there's still a lot of things that I need to work on, obviously, until the day that I disappear from the earth. I will be working on myself because I will never be perfect, and now I can accept that, I guess. I'm afraid of the way that I may be coming across I'm trying to, come across I know a lot of things. I don't know anything of anything at all. I am going through a process of trying to understand myself, you know, and I still don't know much, but there's these simple things that I already know that I go through and that I need to fix, which I think is a good start, but I don't know much of anything at all, you know, so I guess this is just honestly a virtual diary for me to look back on, which I think is very interesting. I don't know, I guess that the gist of it is that there were a lot of things growing up and still right now that I can't understand about myself, like why do I need to be so specific about the way that I do things, and if I don't do them in that specific way that I think is correct, that I think is going to be the most optimal way to do something, why, if things don't go my way, do I feel like the world is about to end? Do I feel like I need to just lay in bed, cover myself and close my ears like a little baby, you know? I don't know, I feel like a baby most of the time, and I don't know how to describe this feeling other than that, although that feels a little bit maybe infantilizing, if that's even a word. I'll Google it, don't worry. I'm afraid I'm making myself seem like a little baby, but that's what I feel like sometimes, you know? I feel like a lot of the times I need to cover my ears, and this reminds me of something that I did when I was a child. For example, something that I really hated doing as a little kid was when my parents would trim my nails. You know, when you are a kid, like, your nails need to be trimmed, you still don't know how to do it. And I was so afraid of it, or I guess I got overwhelmed with it, that I had to, like, my mom would be trimming my nails on one hand, and the other hand I would be covering my ear because I thought that that would help me deal with it. But for some reason, like, these little things, and covering my ears has always been like a comforting thing for me. I feel like if I don't hear as many things, I can concentrate better on trying to be peaceful and calm, you know? I wish I could understand why though, because, for example, I have a fear of balloons. As you guys may know, I've already talked about it on this channel. It's pretty specific, and I've never met anyone in real life that has told me they are afraid of balloons as well. It's not that I'm afraid of balloons themselves, you know, the plastic or whatever. It's just the sound that they make when they pop makes me curl into a little ball and want to cry and cover my ears, and it feels like the world is about to end, and that is with any random sound that I cannot control, you know. A door of a car that closed and I wasn't expecting it. I constantly feel this rush of thoughts inside of my head that I cannot control, and I feel like a baby again, a child that doesn't know what to do and just is looking around like, what do I do, you know? These things have always felt a little bit odd to me, and I don't know why. Something I know a lot of people also relate to is, for example, when I go out, I know that I'm going out with someone, I spend all of the time that I can overthinking everything that I'm going to say, practicing in order to not sound weird as soon as I talk to that person, you know. I already know what topics I want to talk about and what way I'm going to say things, because I'm afraid that if I have to improvise somehow, I will sound weird and they are going to think I'm weird and not want to talk to me again, you know. So I spend a large amount of time planning all of my social interactions, which is often exhausting, you know, and frustrating, because I feel like, and I would love to have my social interactions be spontaneous and just peaceful, beautiful, and out of the blue, and I don't know, spontaneous, I guess, is the word that I'm going for. I wish I was a spontaneous person, but I'm a very careful, planning, organized type of person, you know, and I wish I could let go a little bit, and I still don't know how. Like, I remember even when I was studying in university, there would come a point, like maybe an hour after I started studying, where I was writing, that I would start to feel my callus on my hand would start to hurt. I would smell the ink and feel the light on my face. I would hear so many sounds inside of my head, and all of these sensations would cause me to literally have to go in my bed and hide below my blankets and be like, how am I gonna keep doing this, you know? I had lots of struggles when I was studying in high school as well. I was a straight A student in high school, but that took a lot out of me, a lot of what is wrong with me, you know? People can go into the library and study and go to a coffee, and I tried doing that, but I could never, because there was just a lot of sounds. I don't know, I guess a lot of my issues come from sounds and stimulation related to sounds, you know, because I have a hard time processing them, I guess. You know, I don't really know exactly what the point of this video was. I guess I wanted to say some things and get some things out of my chest in order to maybe relate to someone and not feel so strange anymore, I guess. Because it's way harder for me to pick a person from my real life and have this conversation with them and then have to go through them telling me, oh, I understand, but I don't feel these things, which means that ultimately they don't really understand, you know? If I'm just saying it and you guys are listening to me, maybe you can just in the comments be like, oh, I relate to this, or I don't relate to this. So I guess it's easier in that sense. I think I'm just trying to look for relatability and someone out there that understands it, you know? I don't know. I'm working on a lot of things right now, which I think is good, to be self-aware of all of the things that I need to improve on, or at least work on, even if it's a little bit every day. Today I went to my x-ray, which was inside of a shopping mall, because for some reason the clinic was inside the shopping mall, and I was with my boyfriend and I was like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Like, how do people come to the shopping mall for fun, for example? Like, it is extremely overwhelming for me, and I find it quite sad because I would love to, you know, oh, let's go look for books, let's go like window shopping, whatever, but that's something that I cannot ever invite someone to do or go if someone invites me, because I just know that I wouldn't enjoy it, and I would love to, you know. So I don't know. I hope you enjoyed the video somehow, and I hope maybe you related to something, or you just, you know, listened and enjoyed listening, I guess. So I guess I'll see you very soon. Bye!